his 9th time appearing as the head coach as he gets ready for his 9th season. And even though he said that they almost got rid of him the first year, I think they had a lot of faith, even though there were only 4 victories that year.
It's true.
And every year since then, they made the playoffs. And Coach has won Coach of the Year 4 times in this district, 6A, and also been the champions of this district 4 times. But as we've known, those that don't know Coach, Joey Christian, he's a native of Hawkins County. He played offensive line at Volunteer High School. He went on to ETSU, an offensive lineman. Got 2 degrees there, a bachelor's and then a master's in teaching. And then later got an education specialist degree at Lincoln Memorial University. But he's been at DB for now 24 years. He's always been considered an outstanding business teacher at the school. And so he's done a lot of great things. And of course, he started his career in coaching at Volunteer, offensive lineman, offensive coordinator, then came to DB, was offensive coordinator under Graham Clark. Then, of course, when Graham retired, he became the head coach. So we really appreciate Coach Christian being here, particularly on this first day of the season and all. So come up and tell us about the season.
Sit down. Yeah, okay. Well, thank y'all. Sit down, Brent. There's a good high school friend right there. Debbie, so you're new to the Kiwanis Club, right? Well, I live on Belmead too. Yes. So anytime you think you want to mow my yard or anything, please feel free. I don't have a lot of time. That probably don't make me feel real good. And then Brevin said he made the dean's list. You know, I too made the dean's list, Brevin. He called my house that morning, and there was an incident at a intramurals basketball game that night. And he called me to let me know that I needed to meet with him in the next 3 hours. And if anything happened like that again, I would be expelled from ETSU. That was the list I made. That's a fact right there. Anyway, it's always great to be here, man. I love being with you guys. Appreciate, everything that you do. Is such a distinguished group here of people that love Kingsport and have, and some of y'all worked here and just made it your life, made it your life. And I really appreciate that. And we're all recipients of that if we live in the city, and everything. So I really do. I do appreciate it. We'll talk about my staff. We really just made one addition to our staff this year. Daniel Kilgore was a 10-year vet in the NFL. He played in 2 Super Bowls. We're bringing him on as, offensive coordinator. My offensive coordinator last year, he had left and has gone to Knox West. So Daniel finally had convinced him. We had talked many times before, but was able to bring him on, and he's fitting in. He's fitting in great with the kids and doing well. And I always say in coaches, we need to have. Do we want them to know football? Yeah, absolutely. But we want them to be good people. I mean, they got to be good people. They got to be good mentors for these kids. And so back to the football part of it, we're trying to, as we always do, we're trying to blend some of the stuff that we've always done and some of the things that I like doing, some of the things maybe some of our other coaches like doing. But he's also brought Levi would be the one. But he's brought a little NFL flair to it. There's some things that we'll do where we'll be under center. We'll be, kind of like really our quick game and some things like that out of kind of, the pro style look of Sean McVay or some of those guys in today's world. But last, I always say, I say it every year here, coaching, it's what we do. It's not who we are. It's not, okay. That's our job and we love it, but it's not who we are. And I have to remind my wife of that all the time because it can be a huge point of contention, I think, in any family. As my wife will say, she said, "You got that football stuff Friday night," I was like, yeah, okay, football stuff. Okay, yeah, we do have that football stuff. But it's not who we are, and we got such a great coaching staff for that. Our schedule, I've said it last year. Nobody locally is going to play us. I don't know. It saddens me. I think this is the 106th year of Dobyns Bennett football. We've played Tennessee High or Bristol High School. I think 94 of those years. They haven't played us in the last 4 years. They ain't gonna play us. They ain't gonna play us in the next either. They chose to play Science Hill instead of us. Just people aren't gonna play us. So we have to play people from elsewhere. We had to pay an opponent to play. We have 6 home games this year. That's something that's new. We've never had 6 home games since I've been the 24 years that I've been there. That's not been the way of it. So, but I look at it, and I think a lot of y'all look at it. It's a way. It's a it's a chance for Kingsport to really show who we are and what we do. I think when if I was a realtor, if somebody had called and they were saying, well, we're trying to figure out if we were going to move to Kingsport or not, J. Fred Johnson Stadium on a Friday night is exactly when I would want to show them Kingsport, Tennessee. To show them the band and how many kids are trying to do good things in the band. The Spirit Shakers, the cheerleaders, the football team, the student section that's engaged and things like that. I would do that. I don't think of another time in the city that I don't think that right there. That's kind of like the heart of the city and what we do. So it's always good to bring those in, have more opportunities of that. NIL transfer portal, I talked about it last year. It's gotten worse, not better. It's crazier than it's ever been. The budget is just insane. That we have to do. I have a booster club, and by the way, I see we got a driver here, this ping driver on this. My boosters club has to raise about $60,000 a year. What we get in season ticket sales, what Dobyns Bennett raises in season ticket football sales, I don't get a third of it. Like I get very, very little. We have to set and prepare the table for every other sport. Every other sport gets to eat at the table that we prepare. So with that, we have to supplement that. Well, luckily, I have a boosters club, and we've had a boosters club for years that raises a lot of money. Our boosters club has to raise over $60,000. Now, that booster club does not do things like some of those booster clubs. I can't remember if I've told this story in here or not, but when I went to Georgia a few years ago, there was a booster club down there. This was a school that had just won the 7A state championship in Georgia there in Gwinnett County. And I was talking to the head coach, and they raised a lot of money. And I was talking to the head coach, and I was like, well, what do y'all do? And it's just like us. Listen, we raised $60,000. I think it's $43,000 of it goes to food. Daryl knows. Daryl was a big part of it at one time. It goes to food to our kids. It don't pay anything else. Now in Georgia, I asked that head coach, and I said, so what about what's your biggest expenses out of your boosters? And he said, well, our defensive coordinator I'd already met. He said, you'd met him. Yeah, he's our strength guy. I was like, yeah. And he said, well, we pay him $27,000 out of it. That's his bonus. And I was like, what? A bonus? I don't know what that is. So, people do it different. Sevier County has paid coaches bonuses out of their booster clubs for years. I mean, I know for the last 30 years they have, but we don't do that. So come June, 1st of June, you guys, we'd love to have you be in our golf tournament, the Dobyns Bennett Football Foundation Golf Tournament at Ridgefields. It's usually the first Saturday in June. We would love to have y'all be a part of that if you want to be a sponsor or anything like that. Let's see here. We've had kids that have left. We've had kids that's gone to other schools. We've had kids that have gone to other local schools, which I can't just blows my mind that anybody would, football's important. Okay, let me say that. That football stuff that I do is very important to me and in my life, but I also understand that football is not real important. It's a kid's game. That's what I told these guys yesterday morning. I said, it's a kid's game. You played it when you're 7 years old out at Lynn Garden, and you was just running around and having a good time with your little buddy that you had met in first grade. It's a kid's game. And that's what it is. And that's what we're going to, in a whole grand scheme of things, it don't matter. But to think that I would take my kid out of Dobyns Bennett High School to go somewhere else to play football for what? I don't know, is preposterous to me. I can't tell you how it is. We've had parents who took their kids, thanks to the Tennessee, I see here, Harshbarger's not here, and my Greenville guy's not here. But anyway, Harshbarger didn't vote for it. But thanks to the Tennessee General Assembly, I've had 2 kids took their voucher. And one went to Knox Catholic. That's a 2-way starter to Knox Catholic. And I had one that went to Innsworth. That's another 2-way starter. And their family did good at Dobyns Bennett. Their parents, Dobyns Bennett did great for them. Listen, Dobyns Bennett, you guys know this. We're still recognized as one of the best high schools in the state of Tennessee. We have a composite score in the TVOS of a 5. There's not a lot of schools that have that statewide. We got a letter grade of A, in that we had last year, our graduating seniors, we had 255 seniors that had a 3.5 GPA or higher. That's like what Brevin did. All right? That's what Brevin did. We had 255 people do that. There's another local school. Sometimes I drive by this billboard, and they have all their kids out of their senior class that made 30 or higher on the ACT. They have this billboard of all these kids that made 30 or higher. And I always drive by that billboard, and I'm like going, 27, 28, something like that is what they had. Dobyns Bennett had 91. 27 to 91. Compare that in your head. There's no comparison. But we have parents that would they don't want their kids to have a better education, or they would put something else above that. So that's things we deal with. That's things we're dealing with in this society. I don't have to tell y'all that, and things that we deal with there that we're having to deal with. So, well, anyway, besides losing those 2 young men, with that, we lost a lot. In high school football, I always say we usually lose about 40 to 45% of our roster. We had a very accomplished senior class last year. I think we had 20. I don't even know. I think it was 22 seniors last year, and those guys did good. They really did. Collectively, they won a lot of awards, but they won us a lot of football games. And between that and the ones who have left us and gone some other places, we got a lot of holes in our team. We lost 4 of our 5 starters in the offensive line. We only have 1 back. We lost 5 of our top 6 tacklers off last year's team, including the top 4. It's just crazy what we're having to replace. But what we do have is a bunch of good kids who have worked hard and who continues to work hard, and who has a lot of pride for Dobyns Bennett and the Dobyns Bennett football program. And, that's the things that's kept this program for many years. And John Brooks could tell you that through the annals and years of Dobyns Bennett football, that's what it is that's made it successful. It's kids that, quite honestly, most nights I go, well, we're going to play harder than the other team. I don't know that we're better. There's a lot of nights I don't know if we're better. All right, it's even. But I know we're going to play harder. I know we're not going to give up. I know we're going to run the football. I know we're going to finish blocks. I know we're going to do what we got to do, the little things you got to do to be a good football team, that I know we're going to do that. Well, I know we're going to do that again this year as well. But, so it's all it all goes along. That's what we do. This team will be one that will represent the city that you could be proud of as to how hard that they will play. So I'm going to introduce the 6 that I brought along this year. Yep, 6. And tell you a little bit about them, then I'll finish up here. And usually John's got a question there. He'll be on row 5 at the 50-yard line tonight. So anyway, we'll do that. So first guy I want to introduce, he is the returning. He was the 2025 Region 1 co-MVP or co-player of the year in our conference. He's our quarterback, and like I said, he led us with his feet and his arm, and he's got to do it this year. We'll go as he goes. The first one's Levi Chappell right here. Stand up, yeah. Our next guy is his favorite target, is at tight end, and plays outside linebacker for us. He's usually the 4th rusher for us, not always, but he plays both those positions. Was also all-region last year, Tyree Thomas. The one returning lineman that we have, I said we'd lost 4 of the 5, was also all-region last year, 2025 all-region 1 6A, Ezra Renderos. Next guy, probably a lot of y'all know his dad works for the city, but he's a senior. These are all seniors, and he's played throughout the time, but he has really had a great preseason for us, and we're excited about him. Hudson Clayball. Next kid plays tight end, and the next 2 kids play tight end, and then on defense, the first one plays linebacker on defense. He played a lot last year, started for us, and is going to have a great year as well. Isaiah Bolden, and then a defensive lineman tight end who had a little bit of a nick injury there last year, was able to fight back and come through, and he plays as hard as anybody. We don't ever have to worry about his effort, and that's Luke Brandon. Well, like I said, football's, first of all, let me say this. Football is hard. Football is hard. And that's what we try to, that's what I think I try to convey to these guys all the time, right? That we need you to strain. Like, you need to strain. There's so many kids out there. I sound like some old person or something right now, I know. But like, not that anybody here is old. But like I feel like that like people don't want to strain. They don't know what it's like to strain. They don't, like football, you got to strain to be good. You got to strain to be successful. You got to understand that the guy beside you, he's got to strain. We've got to work together if we're going to be successful. And, in band, it takes a lot of practice. And our band is awesome. I love Mr. Cook, and I love what we do, and it takes a lot of practice. It takes talent that I don't have, musical talent. But to strain, I'm not sure. I don't think so. And when I look at our country, when I see the problems with our youth, this is my 30th year coaching and teaching. When I see the problem, so many kids have been raised now, it's okay not to strain. Oh, you don't want to do your homework? It's okay. Don't worry about it. You can take that class over. You can take that test over. You fail that test? It's okay. You can take it over tomorrow. What? Did y'all get to do that in your jobs? No, the boss said, hey, somebody from HR is coming. They'll be here in a minute. Get your badge and your keys. We'll show you the door. Don't come back. We'll forward your last paycheck to you. So that's what I tell these guys all the time. And really, like, baseball and basketball is difficult, but I don't know how hard it is at times. We have a some of these kids could tell you that we love travel baseball. We love travel baseball. We love travel basketball. But you go to a travel baseball tournament, and Johnny goes 0 for 4, and you get beat 16-0. Okay. Hey, go to the concession stand, get a hot dog, We're going to play again in an hour and a half. All right? Be ready. What is that? What is that? In football, listen, if we lose tonight, we live with it. We live with it. I got to live with it. I got to live with it for a week. That bad taste is there for a week. These guys got to live with it. Now, they're young and they get over it a whole lot quicker than we do as coaches. But you live with it. Just like, as you guys know. And that's what we're trying to teach them. The decisions that you make, the actions that you choose, you got to live with it. You got to live. They can't go to the concession stand and play again. No. You got to live with it. You got to understand what delayed gratification is. Football's a sport where you're going to practice 90% of the time. You're going to play about 10% of the time. That is the ultimate delayed gratification. Basketball is going to be about 50-50. You're going to practice about half the time. You're going to play about half the time. Baseball, about 15-85. You'll practice a little bit. You're going to play a lot. And it don't matter. If you go 0 for 4, strike out, who cares? You didn't get hurt. Nobody got hurt. In football, if you screw up, you get hurt. But worse than that, if you screw up, one of your buddies gets hurt. You do something wrong. Oh, I thought we was doing this. Well, you know, as our offensive line coach, Ty Hayworth, says, you know, well, yeah, you just made a mistake, and, you know, little Johnny just got his teeth knocked down his throat back there. So, you know, are you okay with that? I tell the kids, well, I'm going to have to go see a mother and look some mother in the eye in the hospital tonight and say, I don't know why I had that kid playing in there. That was wrong on my part. You know, we can't do that. It's different. So we are trying to get these kids to strain. We're trying to get these kids to understand that life, you know, life's supposed to be easy when you're in high school. It is. And it should be. But it's also, you should have to strain a little bit, because you got to understand it's not, all of us can't make the dean's list every year in college, every semester. I couldn't do it, Brevin. I couldn't do it. And I know you worked hard. You went to volunteer, so you had to work hard. The other thing, and with that, what I've told these guys all year too, is my saying has been all through the summer. Let's see if they can answer this. You need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because in life, if you're going to grow, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. You know, it's always uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable in your marriage. It's uncomfortable with your kids. It's uncomfortable in the family. It's uncomfortable, but that's how you grow. That's how you grow. So I've tried to get these kids to understand, to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You know, once again, I say it every year, we want them to be comfortable going uncomfortable, because we want them to be better sons. We want them to be better fathers. We want them to be better uncles, nephews, you know, whatever role they play in some family setting. We want them to be better employees. We want them to be better citizens. We want them to do that. How do you do that? The only way, I truly believe, the only way I believe you can do it is you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. At some time, you have to understand that life's not easy. At some time, you got to understand mom and dad can't always give it to me. There ain't always going to be a second chance. You're going to have to make a decision. You're going to have to work your tail off, and you're going to have to do your best. And then you're going to have to live with that. Whatever that outcome is, you're going to have to live with it. And only you can figure out, well, did I really do the best I could? Could I have done more? Could I have put more effort into it? You know, and they got to decide that. So that's what we're trying to do. Going to be a year here. We've only got tonight. We'll have 22 starters. Only 8 of them have ever seen a real live rep of starting time at Dobyns Bennett. So we are. I'd love to say we're young. We're going to start 2 sophomores in our offensive line. Oh my, that scares me to death. It probably scares Levi a lot worse. But that scares me to death that we're starting 2 sophomores. You know, Phil Fulmer used to say for every freshman you started in the SEC was a loss. And I used to say that for every sophomore you started on their team was a loss. No, I used to say it was 2 losses. Every sophomore you had started on your football team was 2 losses. Let's hope that's not the case with that. But we have a lot of great experience in these guys and some guys that's really had a lot of success. But we're starting a whole lot of people that have no experience. They don't have success. Well, they couldn't have success. They've got no experience. So that's what we're dealing with now. So, but we always appreciate your support and appreciate everything in Kingsport and Roll Tribe. Yes, sir. Pat, go ahead. Done. The system has done. It kills you when I move this, don't it? Okay. The system has done a great job of hiring me coaches that actually work in the system. I guess now, of all my coaches, I'm just trying to go through my coaches real quick. I think every coach I have works for Kingsport City Schools. Yes. Now, some of them may be an IA, but most of them are teachers that work at Kingsport City Schools. 4 years ago, I said it. 4 years ago when I was here, there was 3. It was me and 2 others, and that was not sustainable. I felt like at that time I had to make every connection with every kid. I felt like there was just nothing. We had people who were salesmen, and they might get there by the start of practice, but might not. I don't know. I couldn't do things like that. I need you to be there. I need to count on you. So yeah, we've done a great job of hiring coaches, and it turns out, you know what? In today's world, now, I know some of y'all, you're thinking back to your high school football coach and PE teacher and things like that. But it turns out a lot of these coaches that we hire are really good teachers too. They really are. Yes, sir, Mr. Dukart. Boy, now let me say that because our conference is so small. We only have a 5-team conference, so that means I only have 4 region games. I got to find 6 games. But then you look at like a Greenville that'll usually play us. Elizabethton, some years will play. Typically, though, they would play us. They're in an 8-team conference, so they only need 7 games, and so it comes down to it, like, But Elizabethton's always going to play Johnson City. They have a couple people that they're always going to play, so it kind of gets in there. Yeah, I'm just trying to think what I could tell and what I can't. We offered some local schools some money to play us. That we were going to pay them we were going to pay them to go to there and play, and they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. They're I don't know. And these are teams. I'm not talking about like I'm not talking about small schools. I'm talking about bigger schools that just they won't. They won't. Schools won't play us in freshmen. I'll say, hey, I'll bring my freshmen. I'll bring my 15, 14, and 15-year-old freshmen to play your JV team, your 16 and 17-year-old JV team, and they're like, no. I'm like, what? Like that's crazy. I would not run my program like that, and I think their programs usually represent that too. Yes. Well, college is out of my realm, but whatever. It is what it is there. But in high school, I think it is. I think that was one of the more. I think it was one of the more detrimental decisions. But it was a couple guys in the Tennessee General Assembly had forced TSSAA to do that. I'll tell you a story. Knox West had an offensive lineman last year. He was okay, just okay. All right. So he's coming back for his junior year. I don't know if y'all watched last night. Baylor played Brentwood Academy on TV. Baylor paid this kid who was just okay. He was just okay. Now, he would start for us, but he was just okay. Baylor paid this kid to come to Baylor. Of course, now they're paying his school, and it's a boarding school, so they gave him a place to live, paid his tuition, give him a place to live. And then it gets a little fishy in there. They say it's somewhere they're paying him between $3,000 and $10,000 on top of his paying for his school and everything to go there. He's not going to start. They got a 4-star left tackle who's the real deal. And they got a 3-star right tackle who is really, really, really good. This kid, he's not going to play. They brought him in to be a practice player. Baylor is paying him NIL money just to be a practice player. John, NIL, if it gets to that, now the rules say I can't know anything about it. I can't be involved if any kid gets paid. So if you ask me, is anybody getting paid at Dobyns Bennett, I would say no. I don't know about it. I really that's part of the rules of the TWSAA. I can't be a part of it. But if it ever comes to that, I promise you this will be my last time speaking here. But I've enjoyed it every time. Know that. It was exciting last year. Them coming to J. Fred was exciting, and boy, they should have probably had a chance to beat us there. But yeah, going over there to Gate City, there Game 3 is that's I've heard that more times than a few about how rough that's going to be. So yeah, I look forward to it though. I look forward to it. Yeah, probably. Oak Ridge is. You talk about NIL. Oak Ridge has got NIL. If Oak Ridge ain't got it, they go get it. They didn't have a quarterback in this senior class. Their quarterback last year graduated, so they went and got the quarterback from Carter, who was all conference in his conference last year. They got a tight end that's going to UT. They took a wide receiver from Science Hill, like right after the season was open last year, to go to Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge got a little money. Oak Ridge will pay kids to come be a Wildcat. Yeah, they're probably our most talented team, but really the two most talented teams we're going to play, we've already played. Our scrimmages this year, I don't, and that's the way I want it. We don't dodge anybody in scrimmages. We scrimmaged Sevier County, who won the state 2 years ago, lost in the championship game last year, and then we scrimmaged Maryville down at Carson Newman a couple weeks ago. So we don't dodge them. But in our schedule, I would say Oak Ridge is the most talented.
Home game.
Yes, and it's a home game. Love that traditional rival of Oak Ridge and Kingsport and the history between the two cities and all that. I think that's great. So yeah, having them at home, that I always look forward to that. Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think we're at a place at DB. Listen, I don't have to tell y'all, but the demographic is changing and has changed in Kingsport. That's probably more concerning more than anything. I think we all, I'm saying Coach Ford, Coach Wagner, myself, Coach Bingham, Coach Adelet, all the male sport teams, coaches there at DB, we understand we got to work together. We're going to have to be, we're going to have to share, not share kids, but, we need to encourage kids to play more than one sport and things like that. That's also, but that's a problem too. There's so many parents. I mean, man, if you guys are sports fans, you want to watch something good, you got to get on YouTube and look at John Schmaltz's speech when he went into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame about two-sport athletes. That was amazing. He railed against specialization when you're a kid about that you should play more than one sport. And I truly believe that. Listen, I have a thing. I think I would make America great again by saying that sometime before your male child turns 11, he has to wrestle for a year. Because when you're on that wrestling mat, mama ain't there. And daddy ain't there. It's you and that other kid right there. And somebody is winning and somebody is losing. And that will make you a better person. I believe that. Anyway, that's